Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this week. And boy, what a week it has been. Oh man, we're a day away from this inauguration that's going to be going on tomorrow. So we could have a very interesting weekend ahead for us. Oh boy, yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. So right off the top, I will tell you guys that if you want me to do an inauguration stream tomorrow afternoon for a market close, for supers anytime today, we'll do it. No problems asked. Of course, if you look up at the top of the screen, you'll see da bomb 13 out of 25. So of course, when you're earning extra streams, those supers as well, they go towards that da bomb goal. So if we hit 25 supers in the month of January, I'm going to be having some da bomb here, and a whole teaspoon of it. I got the spoon. I'm ready. I don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe today, maybe not. We'll know. We'll find out. We'll find out as we move along. We got the news, all of that fun stuff. We got your questions, all of that. We're ready to go. All right. I very quickly want to mention as well a little bit about Blossom here before we go. So Blossom, of course, is that social media app that is designed by, run by, and for investors. So it is a fantastic way to talk about all things of finance, stocks, tips, all of that. Also, you can hook up your portfolio to Blossom, and I'm going to start coming up on this Wednesday. I'm going to start reviewing some of those Blossom portfolios. If you guys want me to review them on the show, I'm going to do one every Wednesday on the market close. So somebody's already messaged me for this Wednesday, but message me. Let me know if you want me to do that. So if you, of course, haven't heard of Blossom yet, the link is down below. Just download the app. And even if you don't want to hook your portfolio up to it, it's still, I think, a pretty useful app for you as well. All right. Oh boy. Now that we got through all of that preamble, Jonathan wants to know if he's late for the inauguration. Depends. You're late for Joe Biden's inauguration by about 4 years, but yeah, the one tomorrow, you are definitely on time for that. Whoops, that's me. Prairie says, "Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Sunday." It's always good to see you, Prairie. Good to see you. Bleak is in here with a hey all. Hello, Bleak. Also another person great to see. We are all great to see. Stan is in the house with a happy Sunday all, and Guy is saying hello, everyone. Lisa is saying hi, everyone. And guys, Mary's in the house with a good afternoon. So if you have not yet hit that like button, now's the time to do it. Let's just hit that like button, see what happens. All of that fun stuff. Paul says, Wealthsimple doesn't send you the voting proxies. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. I mean, I think they used to at one point. I used to always get all of the literature. Now, I thought, Paul, maybe I'm wrong with this. I thought there was a place within the settings in Wealthsimple where you could turn that on or off for them to send you all of the literature and stuff. But yeah, if they're not sending you the voting proxies, that kind of sucks. Isaac is in the house here with a happy Sabbath. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I saw that when I first saw that, as I was glancing down, I was like, I was thinking, wait a minute, is that like Halloween? And then I was like, no, 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 wait a minute, the Sabbath. I got it. I got it. All right, no problem. Paul says, I never got the voting info for MicroStrategy for January 21st. Oh, interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't have an answer as to why that might be. If it's not a simple setting issue, Paul, I would reach out to their customer service and just ask them about it. Because it seems to me that they should be passing those on. Because if you're a shareholder, you of course do have the right, to vote on all of these things here. Yeah, that should be passed on. I can't see any reason why they're not doing it. That I find that odd. I find that very, very odd. Paul says, yes, I have to wait till Monday. Okay, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. All right, guys, let's get right into our first news story. Actually got a news story about the CBC. So the CBC is now they're making a concerted effort to move towards a focus on local news, and they did recently receive $7 million from Google, and they're planning to hire more journalists. Basically, about 30 of them. They're looking at hiring 30 full-time journalists. And that's going to expand some of that news coverage to about 22 Canadian communities that are currently considered to be underserved, at least in the category of news. So interesting thing. Now, the Google money that they're receiving, that's all about that settlement that we had over the whole Online News Act. So basically, the CBC gets 7% of that settlement, which works out to $7 million. Now, part of what they're concerned about is, and Pierre Poilievre has been very vocal about this, that he would like to at least consider to defund the CBC. And as we know, he is more than likely going to become the prime minister a little bit later in the year after we get through the current mess. And I guess a seat warmer. We'll have a seat warmer prime minister in between Trudeau and Poilievre. Now, here's the interesting thing. What the CBC is trying to do here is it's not just about serving up all of these underserved markets, but they're also trying to show that the CBC has a little bit of value. So perhaps Pierre might reevaluate the defunding of the CBC. Interestingly enough, a recent poll came out, and basically only 11% of Canadians who were asked thought the CBC should be defunded. Now, in a recent House of Commons report as well, they found that in some parts of Canada, the CBC is pretty much the only news outlet that some people have. Since 2008, 500 local news outlets have been closed across Canada, leaving pretty much just the CBC. And in some of them, there's none there at all. And CBC is trying to get themselves in there. So there is a lot of small Canadian towns that do not have adequate coverage. Now, let me ask you guys, are any of you living in a really small town with basically just CBC as your only news coverage? So that's kind of curious to know, because, I've always lived in a place where we always have all of our normal local stuff as well. So that's always been pretty good. All right, Isaac says, Intel was up for the first time after a deep dive over the last few months. It's been about 43% after I bought it, or it's down. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Intel's definitely had a little bit of a rough time this year, but I think a lot of them being up right now is, from what I heard, is that there's rumors that they're for sale or that somebody's going to buy them. But this might just be a temporary up if these are just rumors. So that is something I need to look more into for sure. Let's see. Paul says, Intel isn't your dad's Intel anymore. You have to avoid thinking everything still works like the 1990s. Yeah. Back in the day of the Pentiums. You got to remember the Pentiums. Jay says, hey, everybody. And Paul saying the same with Telus, Bell, and Rogers. Yeah. All right, here we go. Prairie has his own news source. It's basically late night with Stephen Colbert. So there we go. Interesting source of news. I actually find Stephen Colbert kind of amusing. Now I don't stay up late to watch him. I'll usually watch Colbert in the morning over breakfast on YouTube, but yeah. It's I guess if that's your news, that's your news. Not a lot of local news though, I think, from Colbert, but you know, as long as you're okay with that, that to me is fine. All right. Our second story. We're heading back. We're heading back to our this is becoming a weekly thing, the Parliament Hill Roundup lately. But so this week, we've had some confirmations on who is running for the Liberal leadership. So we had Chrystia Freeland, Mark Carney, and just yesterday, Karina Gould have all put their names in the hat for the new Liberal leadership. So that puts us right now at the confirmed people running for the leader is, of course, Chrystia Freeland, Mark Carney, Karina Gould, Frank Baylis, who is kind of another outsider. He used to be a Liberal MP, but he currently doesn't hold a seat. And then we have Chandra Era, which is the MP from Nepean, and Jamie Batiste, who is the MP from Sydney, Victoria. That's Nova Scotia, by the way. Now, we still have one person who is thinking about it. They haven't officially put their name in the hat yet. That's Jonathan Wilkinson, who is an MP of North Vancouver. Now, interestingly enough, they did do a poll. It's like there's a lot of polls going on, but there was a poll of Liberal voters. And Carney actually came ahead of everybody with 27% of respondents picking him as their preferred candidate. Chrystia came in in second at 21%. Now, Polymarket, that's a gambling site, but Polymarket, they actually predicted Trump would win the last U.S. election, but they have put the odds of Carney winning the Liberal leadership at about 70%. So, if they got a track record, it probably means that our seat warmer prime minister is probably going to be Carney. It looks like. So definitely interesting as we move along. Oh boy, the fun of it all. Paul says, I heard from some people that retired from TELUS at the end of December 2024 with an early retirement lump sum package. Okay, interesting. Now, are we talking early retirement, Paul, or just regular retirement? Kind of curious. Max says they should make a movie on the new Liberal leader, 15-day prime minister. Yeah. Well, and this is the thing, the fact that Trudeau held on for as long as he did, he's not really giving the new prime minister, the new Liberal leader, even a chance to try to rebrand the Liberals away from the whole shadow of Trudeau. So that's, to me, I would be annoyed quite liberally. If I was a Liberal and I was running for the leadership, I would actually be very annoyed at him for, holding on this late. It could have been better. It could have been much better done. He should have quite literally, he should have left in the fall. Shouldn't have gone this long. Let's see. Paul says Chrystia Freeland had Hamas protesters interrupt her campaign announcement. Or Hamas, sorry. Oh boy. Yeah. That happens. Let's see. Did I get her first name wrong? Well, yeah, I think it's Chrystia. It's Chrystia, but I imagine. Well, I don't know. I was going to say people who maybe know her well might just call her Christy for short, but She looks to me like that type of person that doesn't like nicknames, but I could be wrong on that. All right. Let's see. Between 55 and 65 at TELUS. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Let's see. Guy says, hypothetical. You have $2,000. You can either invest in Chemtrade and get a monthly drip or buy a handful of TD stocks and not be enough for a drip. Which do you choose? Oh boy. That's an interesting question. Yeah, it's here's the thing though. Um, Long-term wise, TD is going to be fine. Getting this new CEO is definitely a step in the right direction. Once they get all of the money laundering behind them, TD will be fine long term. So, you know, um, so I don't know. It's hard. I mean, you could go either way. I mean, you could always just split right down the middle, right? 1,000 into one, 1,000 into the other. But I do. I mean, I like TD, but at the same time, yeah, it's a tough question, Guy. Prairie says Carney may become Liberal leader, but may be hard pressed to win his seat if he runs in Edmonton, which is primarily PC. Yeah, that could be an interesting thing, though, too. I mean, because right now, he does not own a seat. So if he becomes the prime minister, I think they have to either run him in a by-election, which they probably could lose. Somebody might even have to give up their seat to him. I'm not sure how that's gonna unroll, but it will be interesting. Paul says, I joined the Liberal Party of Canada last week for free. Who is the worst Liberal candidate to vote for? um, that's an interesting. Well, you know what? It depends on what your goal is, right? If your goal is to not to get as few seats as possible in the next election, I would almost say Chrystia Freeland for that, only because even though they had a parting of ways, her and Trudeau, I really don't think that she's even remotely close to being out of his shadow. I think when you look at Chrystia, it's like, yeah, it's pretty much the same stuff. Pretty much the same stuff. Let's see. Convoy 2.20 is join the Liberal Party of Canada and vote for the worst. That's Convoy 2.0. There we go. Yes, everybody just vote for the Liberal Party join the Liberal Party and yeah, but they do have a lot of I know they have a lot of rules too. I'm trying to think. Like, I think one of the rules is that if you belong to any of the other parties and you join the Liberal Party, you're not eligible to vote in this leadership race. So, and I think there's some citizenship type rules as well. But yeah, interesting enough. Michael says, hello, Candace. Would you agree Chemtrade is better to place in an RSP or TFSA as its yield is interest income and not a traditional dividend, if I am not mistaken? Yeah, now if you have interest income, then absolutely. If you put it in registered, then you don't have any of the tax ramifications because interest is 100% taxable. So that would be and I don't know 100% off whether Chemtrade has, if their yield is interest, but if it is, then I would say, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Paul says, my conservative membership expired. They keep sending me emails. Yeah. Oh boy. And that's a thing. That's a thing. It's one of those. Luckily, I don't think any of the parties right now have been sending me emails asking for money. So I'm loving that. I'm loving that. But I do get, I actually get Trump. I get Trump emails asking for money. And I never, ever signed up for anything. But there's a couple of people in the United States that have similar names to mine that screw up all the time when they're putting their email addresses in. And as a result, I sometimes get a lot of email that's not meant for me. And I think one of them signed up for something with the Republican Party or something. And I get all of those emails and I just move them to my spam. And now I think the spam pretty much intercepts most of them. which is good, which is good. But what can I say? All right. Now, speaking of Trump, our big story, I guess the big story of the day is, of course, all of the tariffs. He's got some tariffs coming for us. And what is Canada going to do? So, in response to those US tariffs that are expected to be levied by Donald Trump, and I've even heard that he has at the inauguration, he's planning to have a small desk put aside so he can begin signing all of his executive orders. But yeah, so we'll have to see if that actually gets done tomorrow, but there's a good chance for sure. Um, so yeah, so anyway, Canada has now prepared a list of tariffs that we can use in retaliation. So the list itself, it consists of $150 billion of US manufactured items, but they have not yet gone public with what these items are. I know that we heard rumors like orange juice, I think, was one of the possible items that are on there. And I think all of the items that we used in the last time we retaliated with tariffs back at the beginning of Trump's his initial run at presidency, I think those are all going to be included on the list as well. But they have not yet released this list yet. Now, the prime minister did meet with all of the premiers to discuss the crisis last Wednesday. And 12 of the 13 premiers, they agreed on a statement on the crisis. They're basically promising to work together on a full range of measures to ensure a robust response to any of these possible U.S. tariffs. Now, one premier said, yeah, I'm not doing this. And that was Alberta's premier. So Danielle Smith said that she did not agree with condoning of taxing or reducing energy exports. So she's like, nope, I am not. I don't agree with cutting back on energy at all. Now, Doug Ford, of course, over here in Ontario, he basically suggested we should hit them back twice as hard as they hit us. He used a big, I think he used a jackhammer type analogy, or a sledgehammer. I think it was a sledgehammer, now that I think about it. But yeah, so that's a little bit of a mess, but I definitely understand. Now, Danielle Smith actually went down to Mar-a-Lago. I think it was the week before last, and she met with Trump, and she came out of that meeting saying, "Yeah, get ready for them. They're coming. Get ready for them." So it didn't seem like she made any progress at all, but they're coming, and we're going to see these tomorrow. We'll see the beginnings of what this is going to be. Right now it looks like 25% on everything. We'll have to see if that's how it plays out. And the other thing too is that might be an initial. Maybe he'll step back, but he has been using a lot of big words. Like, I want to use economic power or economic force to annex Canada. I don't think he really wants to annex Canada. And I don't think he fully understands what that would require for him to annex Canada. But it'll be interesting to see. I can't wait to see the end game on all of this. Like, I think right now he's playing his overswing at the moment, kind of like he does with business. Whatever he really wants is, it's still hidden in there. We're going to find out. We'll find out soon enough, I think. Lisa says, I've been hearing reports of 14-year-old non-Canadian citizens being able to vote for the Liberal leadership. Really? Because that's not supposed. There's supposed to be rules. Excuse me. There's supposed to be rules against that. So I hope that's not true, Lisa. I really hope that's not true. But here's the thing, and here's the good news, I guess. The good news on this is I don't think it matters who gets the leadership. We're probably looking at least one, if not two, Poilievre terms coming up. I would say probably two. And then at that point, it really depends. It really depends on what the political things look like in 8 years. But I think we're definitely getting two of them. Paul says, pray for SBR, the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve for the USA to be announced. Yeah. And there's a lot of people in the crypto sphere that are are praying hard for that, because that could be a very interesting stimulus for the price of Bitcoin as well as crypto, right across the board. So we could have a very, like I said, I think this week is going to be very interesting. No hands, no hands down about it. It's going to be very, very interesting. Paul says working bulldogs, they changed to Canadian citizens and permanent residents only, not sure about age. Okay. And Mary is saying Kevin O'Leary is going to save us all. Now, Kevin O'Leary, I mean, he believes what Trump is after is an economic union. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's kind of like with Europe. You got the whole European Union. That's kind of the similar thing that what Trump may be trying to pull off behind the scenes and not come out and say it. But yeah, Kevin O'Leary has an interesting idea about that. It's worth listening to if you have not listened to it. Here's this thing I always say is that sometimes when Kevin has a good idea, don't decide on that idea based on what you may think of Kevin O'Leary, because Kevin O'Leary is very polarizing. A lot of people love him, a lot of people hate him. But even if you hate someone, they can still have a good idea, or if you love them, they can have a bad idea. Both ways. So, Brian says Ford wants to attack a nuclear aircraft carrier with a jackhammer. Yeah, Brian, you might be right. You might be right there for all. So, what can we say? David says tinfoil hats for all. Oh, I love my tinfoil hat. Please, people, don't get news from Facebook. Yeah. I mean, and here's the reality, guys. Let me give you one piece of really good advice right now. If you see something that looks like news on Facebook, it's not news, because if it were news, Facebook would not let you see it. That's just very easy to put that out there. Yeah. Because I mean, I know it's actually funny. I've looked like every day. Facebook sends me or puts a thing in my my feed, which lets me look at all my old posts on that day, and all of the news stuff I shared is just gone. It's just, even the old stuff is gone too. So, but David makes a good point there. I mean, yeah, if you're seeing something like on Facebook, it's definitely not news. I usually myself, I will sometimes see news articles or things that look like news, and I usually keep them on the side until I have a chance to find them in a major news source. Anything from Reuters to the Globe and Mail to, just try not to sort of, if John on Facebook says, a whole bunch of stuff that sounds kind of crazy, double check it, because some people will post crazy stuff just because it gets shared. Let's see. Paul says, what is the Trump meme coin that has been launched? 24 billion in trading volume and 14 billion market cap. Yeah. So this coin, it's making some people money, but it's making Trump a lot of money. I think his goal with the coin was basically to create a way that you could donate to him without directly donating to him per se. But I have heard that the income that he's going to receive from this coin, it's crazy. Like I think I'm trying to remember where the source was. It was one of the news sites I was looking at earlier. It mentioned that this coin alone has moved him into, I think, the position 25 is the most rich person in the world type thing. So he's making billions from it. It's crazy. It is crazy. Let's see. Lisa says, I hope it's not true as well, but it really wouldn't surprise me if it was. All right, and let's see. I did not get this info from Facebook. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, it'd definitely be something to double check, because it is going against the rules that the Liberal Party had dropped in regards to their leadership, the voting. It's pretty strict. Paul says, how does Trump and Trump family and adjacent people not have conflict of interest, conflicts, and ethics violations? It's one of those weird things, right? Like, normally, if you take a role like the president of the United States, you're not really supposed to be you're not supposed to be really touching a lot of your business stuff. Like all of that business stuff is there's supposed to be a proxy who runs your businesses for you while you're in a role like president. So I'm not sure what it's all doing at this point. We'd have to sort of take a look at it. It's fun. It's fun. Oh boy. But Biden's pretty much done now. But here's an interesting thing, guys. Just pull this here up. Our next news story. So before Biden left, he did drop some new chip regulations. So basically, AI chips that are made in America will have unlimited access. Or sorry, AI chips made in America will have, if you're an ally of the United States, you will get 100% access. So I think 17 countries have been named as allies, of key allies. Canada did make that list, believe it or not. So we have unlimited access to chips made in the US. Now, in addition to that, he also named an additional 120 companies that'll have limited access. So they'll be able to get 50,000 GPUs per year from the United States. And then, of course, any of those countries that are not entirely friendly to the United States will have no access. So obviously, China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, those are the type of countries that are on that final list. So one, of course, the goals, according to Biden, is that they are trying to hinder China catching up with the U.S. in a chip race. So it has been estimated right now that the U.S. has about an 18-month head start on the rest of the world. So they're not wanting to give that head start up, especially to China. Now, the U.S. actual chip industry themselves, they actually are not very happy with the proposal. And it has been called, I think NVIDIA called it, an overreach of authority. So this is going to be interesting. We will have to see because, as you know, one of the things Trump loves to do when he takes office is executive order his way out of a lot of the things the previous president put into play. So will this get executive ordered out? What will Trump's stance be on these chips? He definitely has no love for China, but we'll have to see whether or not this holds. So definitely going to be another interesting, like I said, this week, guys, is going to be so friggin' interesting. I just can't wait. I can't wait. Oh boy. I need some coffee now. Oh, nice. So Paul says the last election for Liberal candidates for 2021 to decide who would be the Liberal for each riding had rules allowing non-citizens to vote and underage. Yeah, but they did put out, I know they put out some rules just recently, Paul, in regards to this election that really tightened up who could vote for the leadership. So part of the goals of these rules was to prevent basically foreign entities from influencing the election of the next party leader. So we'll have to see. I mean, here's the thing. I can't see why China might want Carney, because I think Carney's pretty much got it locked down. But I have seen things being a little bit different. So yeah, for sure. All right, now I got more stories. I do have more stories. We are getting through the news pretty fast today. But guys, I thought 2024 was the year of the strike, but it looks like we could be on the verge of another rail strike. So this time around, Canadian Pacific, Kansas City mechanics, they have voted for strike action. It was basically 99% in favor of going on strike. So Unifor, they are they represent more than 1,200 mechanics, laborers, diesel service attendants, and mechanical support staff at the Calgary-based CPKC. They basically have authorized the union to go on strike if a deal is not reached with the railway by Basically 12:01 a.m. Eastern time on January 29th. So we still get some time to avert another rail strike. Now negotiations are set to resume in Calgary, and they're going to run from January 24th to January 29th. So hopefully we can get some movement here. Now the members are united in their demands. They're looking for job security, work ownership, fair wages, and improved working conditions. Now, the last strike that CP had, basically they came to a 4-day stoppage, and that did, of course, impact our GDP. So we're hoping this does not happen again. Now, luckily, though, CN is all good, so we don't have to worry about CNR. There's no strike issues going on there. The union involved in so this union is actually Unifor. The last one we had was from the Teamsters Canada Rail conference, which represents, of course, the engineers, conductors, dispatchers, and yard workers. But I'm hoping we don't get another strike. Last year was year of the strike. This year should be year of the let's not strike. That's what I'm hoping. All right. Now, let's see. Prairie says, rise of reverse engineering chips, black market, and industrial espionage. Mr. T, the incoming Liberal leadership race is just like replacing a new diaper to a behind full of it. Okay. Oh, boy. Yeah. It's the Liberals. It's just this. I think the whole thing is it's just Trudeau should have left a lot sooner. Gave us a chance to to process things, process a new leadership, not have it in a rush. This is kind of one of these things, like quite literally, they could have put the gears of a leadership race going back in the fall. And, especially if they had made a deal, like while they still had a deal with the NDP, they might have even been able to protect them while they had the leadership race without needing to prorogue. But we got to the mess that we're at right now, and it's not going to go great. It's not going to go great. Mario says, good afternoon, everyone. And Guy says, let's see, Candace, do you think REITs are going to recover in 2025? Yeah, I'm actually bullish on REITs in 2025. We haven't yet felt the full, and I say impact almost like it's a bad thing, but we haven't felt the full impact of these rate cuts that we've already had. That's going to be very good for REITs. And we are going to get a small, we're not going to get the giant rate cuts that we had in the end of the year, but we will get a few more 25s for sure going into this year. I'm actually still calling for a 25, depending on, we still have some data, some inflation data to come out, but I am thinking we're going to see 25 in January. Then we might see a pause after that, but we'll have to see. So these are all going to be good for, both utility sector as well as the real estate. And I know analysts right across the board, like a lot of the financial news areas that I cover and that I read, there's a lot of analysts who are calling for REITs to do really, really well. So, this is one of those times when I'm completely on board with the analysts. I think REITs are going to be very strong. I think they're going to be strong in 2025, and I think that's going to be really, really good. All right. Now going to a sector that's not going to be so strong. A lot of frustration with the cell plans in Canada. So the Commission for Complaints for Telecom Television Services, so they're the CCTS. They've released their annual review for the 2023-2024 reporting period. So they received 20,147 complaints. And this is all about the cell phone carriers. So that's up 38%. So during the reporting period, so the reporting period runs from August 1st, 2023 to July 31st, 2024. So Rogers, Bell, and TELUS accounted for 86% of the complaints. So that's basically 20,147 complaints against the big three. Now that's actually up 81% from the previous year and 72% from the year before that. So the 2021-2022. Now, no surprise here. Rogers experienced the most significant increase in its share of total complaints. Interestingly enough, so Rogers was up 68% from last year, and all of the Rogers complaints alone accounted for 24% of all complaints compared to other service providers. And that in itself is a 4% increase from last year. So Rogers definitely not doing good. Some of their highlights. So incorrect charge for a monthly price plan, 91% increase. Contract disclosure issues, 79% increase. Credit or refund not received, 128% increase. A regular price increase of monthly price plans, 447% increase. Now, TELUS was up. Their complaints were up 53%, and Bell actually didn't do that bad. Their complaints were only up 7%. But I can tell you right now, just from those different things I mentioned from Rogers, we're not going to do it for the other two, but yeah, those are absolutely happen a lot. There's a lot of errors that are made through customer service or just through Rogers themselves. So it's no mistake that I just am not a big fan of Rogers at all. So good old Rogers. Good old Rogers. Oh boy. Ferris is in the house with a hi. Hello there, Ferris. Good to see you. All right, we're almost finished the news, guys. Holy cow. All right. Well, let's finish the news. I got another nuclear story for you guys. All right. Now, so right now the government is in preparation for what is being called the largest expansion of nuclear power in North America. So Ontario is basically instructed its public electric utility to begin planning for a new nuclear plant near Port Hope. So that's kind of interesting. So Ontario Power Generation said the site, it's going to be called Wesleyville, could accommodate up to 10,000 megawatts of new nuclear generation capacity. So this would make this proposed plant the world's biggest nuclear power plants by output, and considerably larger than the existing Bruce Station, which is currently Ontario's largest. And it would produce enough power that it could absolutely, completely it could power the entire GTA. So we're talking about quite a bit of power. Now, the government announced in a statement that it had received expressions of interest from the municipality of Port Hope and the Williams Treaties First Nations. So it's going to provide funding to the First Nations and offer them a part ownership stake in any generating plant that's built on the site. So yeah, this is about 10 kilometers west of Port Hope. They're also going to give $1 million to the municipality of Port Hope to begin assessments and planning of infrastructure requirements, as well as any other costs that are out there. So right now, these are the early steps in a process that it's going to take about 15 years in total. Now, and that's basically when they'll be able to connect it to the grid. So probably still some stuff going on after that, but they'll have it connected to the grid in about 15 years, provided it goes forward. So Energy Minister Stephen Lisi said a power project on the site would contribute $235 billion to the province's gross domestic product. That's not too shabby. And it would also create about 10,000 jobs. Now, in addition to that, because as I've been saying, there's a big push towards nuclear. There are already plans to build 4 modular reactors at the Darlington Nuclear Generating Station in Clarington. And I mentioned Bruce Power earlier. The government has instructed the Bruce Power Nuclear Generating Station to begin planning 4 new reactors, which would have a combined capacity up to about 4,800 megawatts. Currently, there's 8 reactors there at the Bruce Power plant, and they have about a 6,500 megawatt capacity. So that's pretty darn cool. All right, now, guys, coming up next week in the news, Canada, we got a lot of things dropping. On Tuesday, we got CPI dropping. Wednesday, we got the PPI. Then on Thursday, we're going to get to see retail sales. And that's going to be interesting because we should have a pretty big bump in retail sales in now let me see here. Actually, I think these retail sales are not December's. I think they're November's. So we could get to see the beginning of people not spending because of that GST holiday. So that's going to be really, really really interesting. And of course, all of this data is taking us to the following week when we're going to get that rate decision. Nothing big happening in the U.S. When it comes to meetings and such this week, and earnings. Slow week for earnings, so not really anything to write home about. So that's all of that fun stuff. All right, guys, that is the news. Let me just get rid of the news here. There we go, and boom, there we go. We're back. We're back. All right, perfect. All right. MC says, "Hi, Candace. I am thinking of investing in VFV. In your opinion, should I wait for a dip after Trump announces whatever he's gonna do, or does it matter?" Long term, MC. It honestly doesn't matter long term, but we may get a dip coming up. Now it'll be interesting to see, and this is what I can't wait to watch with this week is, are we going to see a dip on Monday, basically as people sort of react and get a little bit uncertain? But here's the thing with VFV, though, we're looking at the US market, right? So this is kind of an interesting thing too. We could also, because VFE is buying the S&P 500, we could actually get a Trump bump, a second one. So we had, when he won the election, we had that little Trump pump that happened. We could very well see a Trump pump on Tuesday, meaning that if you are looking to jump into VFV, I would probably do it Monday. Just in case we do get a little bit of a Trump pump. Or if you don't do it Monday, you might want to let that Trump pump sort of work its way out before you jump in. But long term, and this is what I always say, and here, actually, I have access. I'm going to show you something here. Let's go here, VFV. We'll pull up VFV, and we're just going to go to the 10-year. So when you look at this here movement, all right, if let's say, for example, we were back here, like if you invested here or you invested here, anywhere in this area, from where we are today, it's a crazy great investment. You've made, you've got a lot of growth, and that's kind of the way that thing works. So you might, at least in the short term, a lot of, if you happen to buy the dip in the short term, it looks really good. But once you start getting further out into your, whoa, what's that? Once you start getting further out, it doesn't look as good. It's not as impressive. So I always look at it this way. It really depends on what your goal is. Now, if you're one of these people who are more or less trading, and you're thinking, I just want to get in for a short term, get in, take it up, get out, find something smaller to, something, that's retreating that I can get into, then it matters a little bit more. But honestly, it doesn't matter that much when you're looking at a longer time frame. And what I mean by a longer time frame is if you're looking, more than a year out, it's going to be like, it will, it adds up, but it's not that important. Michael says, let's see. Hello, Candace. Can I get your thoughts on choice properties? I am not sure about its growth potential, but I think its dividend is safe given who controls much of it. So Loblaw and the Weston family. Okay, let's take a look at choice properties. I think it's CHP, isn't it? Yeah, here we are, CHP. All right. So yeah, we're looking at, and this is kind of what we've seen with most REITs. So it is doing the same kind of thing. So as you saw, when we got the initial rate cuts, everybody went, and a lot of this big giant buildup here. A lot of it was hype because people know that REITs love it when the when the rates are coming down. It's great for REITs because, well, two reasons. One, REITs run high debt. When you lower interest rates, your servicing on that debt goes down big time. So that's another reason. Another thing is that as the interest rates go down, people start to lose interest in bonds. Bonds become a little bit less of a concern. So because of that, a lot of that money that would normally go into bonds starts funneling into things like REITs, utilities, those type of things that have pretty steady dividends. So yeah, that is what tends to cause this. Now, after this happened, the market hasn't been great. So we've had a little bit of a correction here in December. In the beginning of January, we're just starting to recover from January. Now, I'm looking at this here, and I still see it going down a lot. Like, let's compare it. You know what? Here, look, I'm going to duplicate the tab so we can just tab back really easy. But I want to compare it to RioCan. Now, RioCan is one of my favorites. Sorry. REI, RioCan. Here we go. All right. And we're going to go to the 1 year. And you can sort of see we got the same thing. But you'll notice with RioCan, it's a little more subtle, but it's still following, in general, it's still following the same pattern. Now, with Choice, as you were mentioning, yeah, they have a lot of the Weston type properties, and I think it's going to be fine. Like, I don't have any real concerns with this one. I think it's just a matter of you got to be a little patient as we get more of a chance to recover. And as it is right now, like, I'm still bullish on the sector. I'm still putting money into the sector because I think it's going to recover. I think it's going to be fine. Now, mind you, once it does recover, I will pull the money out of the sector, because when you look at, and I'll use RioCan for this. Let's just look at it. We'll go to the 10-year. You'll see that normally, like here before the pandemic, this is a stock that is designed for income. So it normally doesn't grow a lot. Like, it's not really a growth stock. But right now we've had so much, like, pandemic, bear market, all of the aggressive rate hiking. So this has a lot of room to come back up. And, I'm not going to say that it's going to get up to 27 because as far as I know, and honestly, right now, I don't know. I don't know if RioCan had a lot of dilution over the time. So I'd have to look at their outstanding shares today compared to here, because that, maybe it's unrealistic for it to get all the way back up to 26 or so. But I think it's not realistic. I think it's realistic for it to get into the low 20s. Like, I think in this back up to 22, 23, I think that's very realistic. Maybe even up as high as 25. So that's kind of what I'm looking at with this one. All right. Larry. Hey, Larry. Yes, tomorrow the show begins. Now he is now his inauguration itself, I believe it is right around I think it's either noon or 1 p.m. when he gets signed in. And he's been talking about having a little table that he can start signing stuff right away, because he wants to get a whole bunch of things signed, apparently more than 100, but we'll see how that all rolls out. And of course, guys, if you want me to do a market close tomorrow for supers, and we'll do that, not a big problem. Okay, you're welcome. What do you think about the Russia-Ukraine war? For once, I really think that this war is done this year. I don't see it going beyond 2025. I know that Trump wants it to end, and I think some of the groundwork is there. Like, Zelensky, I think, is actually open to the war ending. That's part of the reason too why, if you look at the second front that Ukraine opened up, where they went and took a whole bunch of Russian territory, the reason they took that territory was not because they wanted it, but so that they could use it as bargaining chips when it comes time to working out whatever the deals are of the ceasefire. So in other words, they could give back some of the Russian territory to get back some of their own. So that is what I'm thinking. I'm definitely thinking. Now, what time this year? I will imagine that by the summer, we could be there by the summer. That's what I'm thinking. Larry says, I'm ordering McDonald's for the swearing in ceremony. There we go. Ryan says, I'm late, but voting proxies with Wealthsimple are defaulted at to no. You can call customer support and have them override it. There we go. Perfect. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking there had to be a way you could get that fixed. Right. Meowie's mentioning Monday is a holiday in the US, so the markets are closed tomorrow. Yeah, they're closed in the US, but they are open in Canada. So that's one of these nice things where, we have that excuse me, I inhaled a something. But yeah, we have that opportunity tomorrow to take advantage. Like the VFV, that's one of those things where you can get in tomorrow when it's probably going to be cheaper, opposed to Tuesday, where I think the price will go up a little bit. Always good. Always good. All right. Yeah, guys, I think I showed this to you guys before, but I haven't showed it yet today. So Blossom right now, they're working on a desktop version. So right now it's very limited functionality. As I think we've discovered, I brought it up on a few other of the live streams, but it is nice because it gives you that option right now. Right now, pretty much all you can do on the desktop version, and only a few people, like I think the people who have Pro and Ambassadors have access to it right now. So I'm hoping they get more of it opened up soon and get some more functionality into it. So right now, I pretty much can just look at the feeds and then comment and things like that. So yeah, they definitely have a lot of work to do on it, but it is coming along, and I think this is going to be fantastic because I don't know about you guys, but I do most of my stuff on on the computer opposed to on my phone. And even my phone, like right now, because I have an iPhone and I have a Mac Studio, right? I can mirror my iPhone onto the Studio, and it actually, yeah, it opens it up, and I can do things that way. But to have a full desktop version, I think is pretty darn good. Larry says, a question about your banks when you open up a business account. Do they ask you about crypto? Here, if you approve of it, they deny you still. Really? That's interesting. I have a feeling that might be about to change, though, Larry. That's a good question. I haven't opened up a business account at a bank, but if any of you guys have recently opened up a business account at a bank, let me know. Let me know what they're doing. Are they asking you about crypto? Like I think right now, crypto is becoming more and more mainstream. And if we get to the point that the U.S. adds an official, reserve crypto treasury to the adds, that could be big. That could be big. So I would like to see that change. I'd like to see that change big time. But at the same time, there's still I think there's still a lot of stuff in crypto. Like there's still a lot of like crap coins and things like that, and a lot of meme coins that, you still have to be careful, but you're okay with your big coins. Like, you're not gonna, you're not going to get rug pulled with something like Solana or Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP or even Dogecoin. Dogecoin, even though Dogecoin started as a joke meme coin, it's kind of turned into a real type coin. So I don't think there's any danger with that one either, which is funny because 2 years ago I kind of would have laughed at Dogecoin, but now it's like, yeah, it's kind of a little bit different. Larry says they ask about what kind of business you have, what sector, number, and type of money you accept. Interesting. So let me say this. So if you basically are opening up a business and you say, oh, well, I'm accepting Bitcoin from customers who want to pay that way. So they would ban you for that? That's craziness. But let's see, a lot of banks will ban you for using like Coinbase and Polygon, sending money or accepting it. So, all right, there we go. That just answered that question. That's craziness. But I think it's going to change. I think it's going to change. Like I've just been watching right now with the Trump administration coming in. A lot of companies have been sort of changing the way they operate to be more Trump friendly. So I mean, well, look at Facebook. Coming out with their rules on fact checking. They've changed that, and that's kind of to appease Donald Trump and make him like like them a little bit better. Yeah, and I think, but banks, I mean, if the U.S. government is holding crypto, I can't see banks continuing to do that. Yeah, it's interesting. Now, it's really interesting, and this is a funny question, I guess, when I asked you guys about are Canadian banks doing that? Because I don't know. I mean, I bank with EQ Bank, which is an online bank, and I don't think they have any. I don't think they care about crypto or anything. But if you're running through a business, I'm just wondering if they're asking stuff like that. Because I remember now. The more I think about it, I do remember years ago, like maybe 2-3 years ago, hearing from some people that said they had some issues with their bank and sending crypto, for example, to like ShakePay, that that their banks weren't allowing it. But I haven't heard anything recently at all. Let's see. Larry says, I told them how my business bought Hut 8 because it was cheap and I sold it. Then I had to have a talk with the head of that particular location. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's like I bought a crypto mining company and sold it, and they'd have an issue with that. That's crazy. All right, Ryan M., what are your thoughts on MasterCard or United Healthcare? I mean, MasterCard and Visa for the, I think they're both fine right now, but here's the thing. As crypto, and as Bitcoin takes more acceptance, social acceptance, I guess, or government acceptance, whatever, that's going to be another avenue of of money transfer. So some people will, instead of using a credit card, could transfer Bitcoin, for example. But I think right now, I think both MasterCard and Visa have been sort of looking into that whole sector. So I don't know what they're planning to do, but I think they will be on the ball for that. But here's that thing. Right now, they're in that situation where there's so many, I'm going to say Americans. But when I say Americans, this one kind of applies to both America and Canada. But there's so many people that are just racking up the debt. And they're making a lot of money off of that. Like a lot of money. Because there's a lot of people that just to survive are being forced to take on more and more debt to make ends meet. And that's good on them. Although, excuse me, the dark side of that is that you still are going to have higher loan loss provisioning with them as well. We're not talking with mortgages. We're talking just with people who are defaulting on credit cards. I imagine those numbers are up. I haven't seen any recent figures, but there's no way they can't be. So, it's kind of that delicate balance. Are you making more from all of the people who are still making all of their payments, opposed to the ones who are being forced to default and all of that fun stuff where you're selling off their debt for pennies on the dollar to credit collection agencies and that type of stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Now, let's actually look at MasterCard. Kind of interesting. Like, I'm thinking they have to be up. But we'll take a look here. Let's see here. All right. MasterCard. Here we go. It's MA. There we go. So I know they were up on the last day, but let's take a look at just the last year. I have a feeling this is going to be good. Yeah, so look at this. Right now they're doing fantastic. That's not too bad at all. They're getting a little bit like, they had a little bit down here, but I mean, I think, and let's even go further back. Let's go to 3 years. Yeah, I mean, look, that's just a little correction. So pretty much since we started coming out of recovery, and I'll go back 5 years because this way here we can sort of see it. This was a bit of a bull market, and here, even the bear market, they didn't do that bad. It was a little bit of a movement down, but yeah, I think MasterCard is going to be fine. United Healthcare. Now, that's one of these problems with healthcare right now in the States is that um, there is a lot of uncertainty with what's going to happen with the new Trump administration. You got RFK coming in to take over healthcare, and so there is a little bit of a uncertainty going there. Let's actually see how they've been doing here. United Healthcare. Come on, guys. That's a community health. No, I'm looking for United Health Products. No, United Healthcare. All right, we'll try this. Hamilton Healthcare. There we go. National Healthcare. Yeah, if you get me a ticker, Ryan, I'm not finding them. Let's go to, let's see here. It's a UNH, I think is the one I'm thinking of. This is United Health Group. Now, because this is kind of giving you a similar idea. Oh, this is the right one, UNH. Okay, there we go. So let's go to the 3 year. So as you can sort of see with this one here, we don't have a lot of movement up. And right now, they have been struggling. They were up around 611. So they've lost about $100 in value. I think that for healthcare, at least temporarily, I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle for them. So I think if you're looking in the midterm, short to midterm, you're probably better off with MasterCard than United Healthcare. But I think long term, these things will rebound. Healthcare is big. But right now, I think, and here's the thing too, I mean, especially in the United States, like healthcare being for profit, it tends to be something that grows. But right now, if you're looking long term, United Healthcare is fantastic because you're going to get. It's going to be. I think it'll be undervalued as we get through this, and then you'll have a chance to make your money back on the long term. But I think at least for the short to midterm, I think MasterCard's the better bet for that reason. Let's see. A CEO getting dropped. CEO getting dropped it. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. So yeah. So Larry got out of United Health. And that, like I said, long term, I think they will rebound, but short term, there's probably more pain, more sideways movement, a lot more of this than anything else. So that would be how I would look at it for sure. Yeah, exactly. That is the one that did have the guy shot. So yeah, I was trying not to go there, but yeah, that is the company. That is the company. So, and I was going to say in all fairness, somebody will take his place and it'll probably be the same old thing at the moment, but healthcare will rebound. Things like this, things like Pfizer, they're all going to come back. I mean, healthcare is incredibly important, but for now, it's I would say I would even go the next couple of years. It might not be the best time to be investing, unless you've got patience, and I'll use it. You got to have. I think you'll need diamond hands when it comes to healthcare investing, because it's a little scary. It is a little scary. That's okay, Larry. That's all right. Not it's not bad or anything. Yeah, exactly. So, what can I say? So yeah, guys. Oh, I did want to bring up. Gonna head over to the Discord here for a moment. Whoops, let's head. There we go. Actually, we're gonna go over to the schedule. Oops. All right. I'm just close all of this here out because there we go. There we go. Now it's all up to date. It's all up to date. I like that. Coming up here on Tuesday, you guys have been asking about battles. So I was like, I do want to do a battle. I don't know who. So then that dawned on me. We did one of the first, not the first battles, but one of the early battles that we did was Brookfield Asset Management versus Brookfield Corporation. And one of the things about that is we did that probably about a month to 2 months, roughly. About maybe at the most 2 months after they had the old Brookfield Asset Management turned into the new Brookfield Asset Management and Brookfield Corporation. So we didn't have a lot of data, a lot of good data. So now we have a much more data for those two to do a fair battle. And Brookfield Corporation's had it's had one hell of a year this year. So, in 2024. So that's coming up there for you guys on Tuesday. If you're a channel member, by the way, you do get to see them one day sooner. The other thing I wanted to mention as well, channel members, we have our channel member live stream coming up on Thursday. So I want to put the vote out tomorrow for what we're going to watch. But I did drop I did drop a community post for the channel members. Just if you got ideas, throw them in there. I always will come up with 4. Basically, if I don't get enough ideas for 4, I just go into the past and I look at your old ideas that haven't been done yet, and top it up to 4. So we will have a vote. But if you have something you would like to see as a topic for the live stream Thursday night, definitely go to the community tab and drop your idea in. It could very well get voted, especially if it's a really good one. We also have a deep dive coming up this week. It's going to be CNR. So you guys had the chance to vote. So CNR got the vote. That's coming up. I'm looking really, really fantastic. Also, channel members, once again. Well, not yet, but I am going to drop a vote for you guys, or not a vote. Sorry, I will drop a vote for the channel members, but first I need to get some ideas for the last video of the month. Now, I let everybody give the ideas, then the channel members will vote. So I will be dropping that probably pretty soon, because the end of the month is coming it's actually coming faster than I expect. This month is just going by pretty darn fast. So that'll be dropping as well. All of this fun. Now, if you want to know, hey, how can I get to this schedule? I do keep the schedule over on Discord, as well as the Facebook group page. So from either of those, you can get access to the schedule. I do occasionally post it in the comments as well, and I probably will do that again pretty darn soon. YouTube is supposed to be changing the comment section to make it more of a more interactive. So I'm waiting for that to happen. I'm actually hoping it happens earlier this year, because once they do that, not only will I be able to post on the community tab, but you guys will be able to post on the community tab as well. So it'll become much more interactive, a little bit, probably not quite as good as Discord, but I think it's going to give us a whole bunch of more functionality, and that's going to be a lot of fun. That will be a lot of fun when that does drop. They've been talking about it for at least the last half of 2024. So I think these are supposed to be changes coming into 2025. A 9 says, does EQ Bank have high interest savings account? If so, what is the percent currently? I think, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last time I saw it, I think it was around 1.5%. So it's not great. It's, you're better off with like a cash ETF type thing because that will give you a lot more than what the high interest is. But I still like EQ Bank. You're not going to get from the big six, you're not going to get something that high unless it's an introductory rate. So then you might get it for 6 months and then it drops back to its crazy, crazy low. But yeah, as the rate cuts have been happening, I've noticed EQ Bank, every time there's a rate cut, I get another message saying, yeah, it's going down a little bit more. But EQ Bank has no fees, so I like that as well. So, by the way, guys, all of these things, there's links down below if you want to try out EQ Bank. Then all of them have like little gifts. So EQ Bank, I think you get $25 if you sign up. And then the channel gets $25 too, because that's kind of how the affiliate stuff works. So just to keep in your mind. All right, guys. Yeah, I think that's about it. If you guys have your last minute questions, let's get them out there. Hit me up in the chat, and we'll go from there. What is Ryan here saying? USD account 3%. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I do think EQ Bank has a US. Is that what you were mentioning, Ryan? Because I'm pretty sure they do. So yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So here we go, 1.75. That's better than the 1.5. Like I said, I haven't really paid a lot of attention to that. Normally if I do like an EQ video, I have to go back in and look at all the rates again. But I do like, I said, like I do really like EQ Bank quite a bit. So, now I think your other options for if you want commission-free banking, I think Simply still has their commission-free as well. So, and they're more connected, of course, to the big six. All right, Jersky's in the house with a hello. I'm late, but I'm here. Nice. Good to see you. Yeah, we're kind of winding things down a little bit. That's normal, and this is normally we go a lot longer, but it's a January, and I think everybody is is getting their sleep so that they have the energy for tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be fun. Let's see, if you lock it in for 10 days, you get 3%. Oh, that's it. Only 10 days. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby at all. I like that. I do like the sounds of that for sure. Let's see. I use Wealthsimple for high interest savings. So 2.75% for premium. CIDC insured 300K last I checked. Yeah, that's not too shabby at all. Not too shabby at all. I'm liking that. Yeah, I think I do like that. So yeah, guys. Yeah, guys are. Yeah, I think we're at the end of the stream already. Which is fine. I mean, normally we go about 2 hours on these ones. So let's see. Jersky says maybe take some profits off BTCC tomorrow. Interesting. And that's an interesting thing though, Jersky, because I have a feeling that crypto is going to go up. Initially, depending on what happens. I have a feeling though that there's a really strong possibility we could see Bitcoin go up on Tuesday. So I don't know if I would. It's going to be one of those things that I don't think I would be taking profits personally, but I still always say it never hurts to take profits. So there's nothing wrong with that. But that'll be that whole thing, and that's going to be the fun of this week, right? What is he going to do? The only thing I'm pretty sure 100% is that we'll definitely see some tariffs. And I also think some of the immigration stuff is going to get signed tomorrow as well. 9 says, I'm going to DCA more into BTCY so I can get income on the side. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Well, here's that thing. Like, once we get to the point where, crypto is no longer going crazy up and we get a lot more sideways action, BTCY could be very profitable in those situations. So definitely not a bad choice. Now, I did move out of BTCY. Like I had it in the challenge at one point. I think right now I think I've got the crypto exposure sitting in EBIT, but Yeah, that's going to be kind of fun. I will be having, by the way, there will be a deep dive coming out on EBIT. I don't know when. I have no clue when. I'm pretty much up to evolve. I've been sending it back and back and forth. Right now I'm waiting to get back and seeing if I have to refilm some stuff. And sponsorship is fantastic, but it does come with a lot of extra work, that's for sure. But that's always good. That's always good. It's good for the channel. Anyway, guys, yeah, I got nothing more for you. I will bid you guys a fantastic week. We will be back here on Wednesday. So we have the market close, and we'll actually be doing on Wednesday. We're gonna look at I think it's Ian. Ian wanted us to look at his portfolio on the air. So we'll be looking at Ian's portfolio on Wednesday. In addition to all of the normal stuff that we do on the market close. All right, guys. So until then, have a oops, actually, I gotta go big. I can't leave while I'm little. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we will see you here. I'll see you here on Wednesday. Until then, everyone, take care. Bye-bye. Whoops. I need to click the button.